I mean, to have the opportunity to be an Olympian is crazy just to even say out loud. You know, it's something I've dreamt of since 2014. Yeah, the first memory I have of being on skates was at the Cleveland Heights Rec Center. I was playing cross-ice hockey with a couple other 4-year-olds, maybe 5-year-olds. And I remember my good friend Peter, I was playing with him too. But yeah, that's my first memory as far as being on skates. And whenever someone mentions Cleveland or Cleveland Heights, I get super excited because I don't think it's talked about enough. I think Cleveland's an awesome city, and then especially Cleveland Heights, it's so cool, it's very unique, it's diverse, there's so many good things about it that I think if more people got to see it, they would love it. So yeah, I get really excited when I hear people talk about Cleveland. My dad always had a plan, so he started me in figure skating because he knew that the transition to hockey would be easier that way, which as a 3-4-year-old, I had no idea. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm a figure skater and I'm also gonna be a hockey player. But eventually my dad was like, all right, it's time for just hockey. But yeah, figure skating definitely helped me transition to hockey. You know, and I wasn't big on the figure skating outfits anyway, so that worked out for me. I didn't like the tutus and the one pieces, the leotards wasn't my thing. I was more of a tomboy. So with hockey, I could wear whatever I wanted. Yeah, that journey was really interesting. One day I just stopped figure skating and it was all hockey. I visited this sporting school in Rochester, New York when I was in 7th grade. It was December, I remember, and I immediately fell in love with it. I thought all the girls there were so cool, the dorms were super nice, the lunch food was good, which I was really happy about. I was huge on food. And then the practice was really fun, the coach was great, and I was really excited. Yeah, when I get home on the rare occasion, first things first, I gotta see my family, my grandma's. So I like to play cards with my mom's mom, and then I like to get brunch with my dad's mom. So those are a priority, and then I see my nephews, my siblings, obviously I stay with them. And then I've gotta go to the Cleveland Heights Rec Center and skate with usually my siblings and then Coach Robinson. And sometimes my dad gets out there, which is really funny, and then I'll work out in the same building. Then I've got to go to some sort of coffee shop, either Phoenix Coffee, Rising Star, or you know, what else is there? Honestly, any coffee shop. I like to get coffee sometimes with my dad just to hang out, and those are the first things that come to my mind. I mean, for starters, my freshman year, it was a crazy year, and then we won the national championship. I was on the team with my sister, so I won my first national championship while she won her second, and that was really cool. And then we had another year together, made it to the finals and we lost, which was tough. It was her last year, but looking back on it, you know, she had a very successful career in college, and then I was still on a great path. And then my junior year, this past year, we had a crazy year, an unbelievable year, and then we won again, which was awesome. So, you know, it's like 2 out of 3 years, you know, been very, very successful. And so it just, you really want to get that third one because 3 is better than 2. But yeah, my 3 years in college so far have been awesome, especially being able to have 2 of them with my sister was really special. It made it easy for my parents to, you know, to visit 2 people at once in one place. But yeah, I say my career's been crazy so far, and I'm hoping to get another national championship. I mean, the feeling of winning was probably the best moment I've ever felt because you work so hard all year, and we've gone through so many ups and downs, you know, lost games we shouldn't have, you know, had bad games, bad practices, you know, team drama, all that stuff. And then you get through it, and it's like you win, and it was all worth it. All the hard work, the early mornings, it paid off, and you got to do it among some of your best friends, and for me, among my sister. Yeah, it's cliche, but I would not be here without them. There's no question. They've all made so many sacrifices to get me here, and you know, it's been a long road. Hockey's an expensive sport. It's a unique sport. It's not the most popular sport, especially for, you know, a minority. So I think they've sacrificed a lot of things and done what they can to get me here. You know, from my dad taking us to early morning sessions before school at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., and then to my mom taking us to tournaments, taking off work. There's so many things I can think of, and my siblings who have pushed me to be the best player and person I can be, which I think I've done for them as well. So family's meant everything, and is my big motivation to keep going in this sport. I mean, to have the opportunity to be an Olympian is crazy just to even say out loud. You know, it's something I've dreamt of since 2014 when I was watching Team USA in the finals. So I think it's just crazy to think about, and to be on that path, to have that opportunity. It's wild, and there's so many things you have to sacrifice and so many things you have to do to get here, and to be here is incredible. And not quite there yet, but to have the opportunity, it's like you said, every 4 years it's the best of the best. It's the greatest sporting event in the world. I think it's surreal. Yeah, I mean, when I'm laying in bed at night and can't sleep, I picture those rings, the Olympic rings, and having the opportunity to see them up close, and to have a gold medal around your neck standing on the podium. It almost feels like that's what I should be seeing when I close my eyes in my dream, but it's reachable now, and to have that opportunity, it's crazy. It gets my mind spinning and eventually puts me to sleep. Team Canada is a great team. I mean, they're the other half of one of the greatest rivalries in the world. So I think I have a lot of respect for them, but also a lot of resentment, of course. But yeah, at the end of the day, game respects game, so there's no line that they're a good team and a proud federation, but I think at the end of the day, it's hard to like them. I couldn't believe it when I found out the Rivalry Series was here in Cleveland. I mean, I've never am gonna play a game as meaningful in Cleveland because it's the biggest rivalry at the highest level. And I think it's so cool just to bring it here and to have so many family and friends come and see me hopefully succeed at the highest level is so cool to even think about. And just to bring my teammates here and just to show them around where I grew up is really cool to think about. And I haven't played a game here since high school, so it'll be a crazy feeling that I'm really excited about. Yeah, I definitely think the Rivalry Series will be very beneficial for us, regardless of the final and the score and how it goes. I think we'll be able to learn a lot about ourselves and our opponent, but especially about ourselves and what we need to work on and what we can get better at by the time February comes, so we don't have to, make those same mistakes or give up those same goals, those same plays. I think it'll be very, very important to take what we can from those games. Even if we lose, if we learn something, it won't be considered a loss, especially if we fix it by February. Yeah, it's totally crazy. I remember my phone was getting blown up saying that I was on the New Heights podcast, and I couldn't believe it. And then my brother was like, yeah, scroll to this time and you'll see it. And I watched it and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow. So I think a couple days later, I was like, you know what, I'll just DM Travis and Jason separately saying thanks for the shout out, appreciate it. Not thinking anything of it and not thinking they had responded. Then Travis actually responded. So we had a little bit of a conversation about, where we grew up, who we played for, and we went to the same middle school. And he said it was an honor to have walked the same halls as me, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, he was really nice and supportive, and so I'll always be rooting for him, especially as an athlete being from Cleveland Heights. But now after having more conversations with him, I'm definitely rooting for him now. I went to a few Indians games growing up, never got to go to a Browns game. I went to one Cavs game. But yeah, I was definitely a big fan growing up, especially in 2016 when the Cavs won and then the Indians were so close to winning. They didn't win that year, but yeah, I've always been a fan, no matter how bad we are sometimes and how good. Consistent fan for sure. I went to a Guardians game a couple weeks ago. It was fun. Yeah, I enjoy watching them play in person, and I'm hoping to get to a Browns game this year. It might be hard though. The past few years, I've been really keeping up with the WNBA, so to find out recently that they're going to have a WNBA team here in Cleveland, I was so excited to hear, because the growth of the WNBA has been great. And I think it's really helped women's sports in general, and to be able to have that here in Cleveland, I'm really excited. Hopefully I'll catch some games, maybe meet some players, do some sort of collaboration, I don't know, but I'm really excited for 2028. Yeah, I mean, growing up, he was Cleveland's hero when I was watching basketball. He carried the city on his back, people would say, which I thought was so cool because throughout all the pressure, he still remained one of the greatest athletes. And I think a lot of people can crumble under that pressure, but he took it and used it to his advantage and really showed out. So I always respected him, and he gets a lot of hate, but he remains to himself, as a family guy. And he just seems like a really good guy, an athlete who I really, really respected. So regardless of him being a male who plays a completely different sport, I still found him to be a role model of mine. When I first found out I was the first black woman to make the national team, I was shocked. I knew that there had been people who played in the past of color, but they were never on the national team, and it never really hit me until my mom told me. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, it's 2024. Who would have thought? So there was a lot of attention around it, media and all that stuff. And at first I was like, whoa, this is a lot. I don't know if I can handle it. But then I was like, this is incredible. Like, I have the opportunity to be a role model to many young athletes, especially hockey players of color. So I was like, given this opportunity, I'm gonna embrace it, because what else is there to do? I can't hide. It is what it is. I'm playing at a high level. So I think to have the opportunity was great, regardless of all the pressure and the attention. To use it in a positive way was my main goal, and I'm still working on doing that. I was in Europe and I was approached by a mom with her 2 kids of color, and they came to every single game, which I thought was so cool, and they stood and waited for me before the games and after the games. And the mom shared with me how she was so grateful to have met me and to have her kids watch me so that they can see people that look like them playing hockey, because they were really into hockey and never saw people that look like them. And so she told me how cool it was that I got to be that for them, and I was extremely emotional and honored by that, because that's a very impactful thing and it meant a lot to me. So I got, I saw them after every game, we took pictures, and it was just so cool to have that opportunity. All the way in Europe, making an impact in Europe was crazy. I think it's already crazy enough to be making an impact in the US. So to do it over in Europe was really meaningful. I would say, experiencing things like walking into a rink and saying the basketball court's that way, say it was, very annoying and tough at the time, but having experienced those microaggressions at a younger age definitely taught me lessons and made me stronger, had me grow thicker skin in a predominantly white sport. So I think definitely has had an impact on the way I approach things today. Yeah, the games being in Milan coming up, I think it's so cool. I think Italy's beautiful, and especially Milan, which I think the location is very important. So for it to be in such a beautiful place, because you only spend so much time playing in the actual games, and then when you have the free time, you want to enjoy it. So I think Milan's a great place to go and enjoy, and all the family that's going to be there, they can enjoy themselves there. And I think it's really cool. I never would have expected to have the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, so I think I'm really excited to have that opportunity. Wearing the sweater with USA on the front is one of the greatest honors. Despite what's going on in the country, I think to have the opportunity to represent your country doing what you love at the highest level, I think, like 1% people get to do that. It's an awesome opportunity that I don't take for granted. Standing after a competition and hearing the national anthem being played is one of the best feelings, because the first time means we won the game, and second, that just means it's just a reminder that you're representing your country. You're a small number of players who are representing a large country and doing it to your best ability. So I think, and then having a country behind you rooting for you, I think it's really cool. Knowing I have so many people, even outside of my family, rooting for me in Cleveland is just a great feeling. It gives me another layer of motivation, another reason to be my best as an athlete and a person. So I think it's awesome, and it's just such a good feeling that I'll never ever take for granted. I have thought about what it would be like to participate in the opening ceremony, and it's given me chills. To have the opportunity to be amongst the best athletes in the world, it's crazy to think about. I can run into someone like, I don't even know, just the amount of people that I could run into is crazy to think about. So yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, I think it's important to take a moment and look back on everything that's happened to get me here. Starting out as that little girl in the tutu, put her hockey gear over it, and it's just crazy to think about. And I think it's really important to just stop and reminisce and be grateful, for how far I've come and for how far I'll hopefully keep going. I think the journey's been crazy. There's a lot of people that have helped me get here that I owe thanks to, and that I owe to give my best to every day and make them proud. Team USA to win gold. Canada's older, they're more experienced, so I think we've got to hone in on learning things and learning them at a fast rate. So when we play in the Rivalry series, taking things from it, regardless of the score, just getting better and taking something from every meeting, every film session, every practice, every game. I think that's really important, and learning from our leadership group. And I think once we put all the pieces together, we're a very hard team to beat. You're a small number of players who are representing a large country and doing it to your best ability. So I think, and then having a country behind you rooting for you, I think it's really cool.